Hello, my name is Natalie Sam, and the objective of my short presentation is to convince you that sexual education is a necessity starting in the sixth grade and throughout high school. Imagine this. Instead of going to prom, choosing and applying to colleges, and overall enjoying being a careless youth, some teenagers are busy, bottle feeding, losing sleep, and dealing with the responsibility and fear of having to take care of a child. In a 2011 article on why sexual education is necessary in school, Catherine and David Hall bring up the lack of knowledge as one of the main reasons for unplanned pregnancies. And yet, unplanned pregnancies is just one consequence of the lack of knowledge about sex in teenagers. This lack in their education causes some of them to engage in irresponsible and inappropriate sexual behaviors. In a 2008 film from Film Media Group, they were allowed to express themselves, and most teenagers explained that not knowing about sexual facts was one of the reasons they got pressured into having sex. They discuss the topic with their friends, they try to impress them, they go out, drink to lower their inhibitions, and they end up with a sexual experience that they regret in the morning. And this is just another consequence of this lack of education. One more consequence that's important to note is that this type of behavior is going to leave them vulnerable to sexually transmitted diseases. Now, this problem has consequences not just on the youth themselves, it also has consequences on the economy and on society as a whole. In terms of economy, a family that has to deal with unplanned pregnancies is actually suffering more pressure, more financial pressure that they probably were not prepared for. There is a new person added to the family, there are new expenses for an unplanned pregnancy, and a young teenager or a young adult is not prepared to assume the costs of this unplanned pregnancy. Another way that this affects the economy is that in terms of family, this is also an added expense in case they contract a sexually transmitted disease. So this is also a way that this affects the economy. This also affects society as a whole because a teenager that is taking care of a child is not able to get the education that's necessary and they won't be able to contribute as they're supposed to the workforce. So this is another consequence. Now, some people believe that teenagers and young adults should not be educated on sexual matters. Some people argue that teenagers are not mature enough to learn about sexual relations. But there's a problem. Not only do some teenagers already know about sexual relations, but the topic is also available in the movies and on TV. In the 2008 article from the Film Media Group, that was one of the concerns expressed by the teenagers. They stated how movies that are rated R provide them with enough information for this to be a problem and for them to already know about sexual relations, whether someone educated them on the topic or not. This problem is serious enough to justify a change in the curriculum. There needs to be a change where sexual education needs to be provided to teenagers. That way they are better equipped to deal with all the consequences of their behavior. Now, some people offer different solutions. Some people seem to think that parents should monitor their children's movements and their friendships to make sure that they are not exposed to sexual matters. Well, it's impossible for parents to be permanently attached to their children. They are going to see friends at school who know more about it, and like we said, this is also available in the movies. So this is not a viable option. Now, this another a solution that some people offer is to just ignore the problem and allow the kids to just learn as they mature. That's another solution that is not acceptable because this again leaves these teenagers open to inaccurate information that they are going to gather from either other kids that don't know as much or the people who are going to provide them with inaccurate information. This means that sexual education in school would be the best way to make sure that they are provided with consistent and accurate information within the limits that are appropriate for their age. The curriculum would be established starting in the 6th grade, and information pertinent to that age group would be provided, and it would be a better way to monitor the information that the children are provided. Now, there are already initiatives where this type of curriculum is already elaborated, and we can cite as an example a 2009 article in the Tribune Business News that provides information on how to prepare an accurate and valid curriculum for sexual education of teenagers. This is going to be a benefit. It would benefit not just the children themselves. As we said, this would be a benefit to the education system. It would be a benefit to the economy and to society as a whole. Now, what needs to be done, the first step that also needs to be taken, and how we can all get involved in improving this matter for teenagers and young adults, is for people to start having this conversation with children. The first, parents need to stop ignoring the problem and need to start having sexual conversations with their kids to see where they are and what they know. And also, counselors, once this is approved and parents are properly convinced that this is important, a curriculum is established, then counselors and school personnel, teachers, and all people involved in the children's education can make sure that they are being provided with accurate and valid information. This concludes our presentation, and this is the best way we found to explain and to convince you that sexual education is necessary and should be provided to children starting in the 6th grade and throughout their high school education. Thank you.